And welcome to another edition of the Person to Person podcast. I am your host, Michael Harris. Your other host, Gary Stone, is not with us today. We are all having problems with our health, with our age, this, that, and the other. Oh, we have another person here with us who is not quite on the phone. I guess I should move over. He's a big, handsome, holy man. In fact, I have two big, handsome, holy men with me today. The other is a gentleman by the name of Tim. Tim.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
All right. I guess I need more volume on you, Tim.
Let me work on that.
We'll add some volume to it. Timothy Thompson, the Reverend Timothy Thompson. Remember him from the ensemble Christian Friends?
Wow.
Yeah, way back.
Thank you for that memory, man. That's beautiful.
Yeah, he went to Kashmir along with my darling wife, Diana Yvonne, Alessandra's mom. And of course, Alessandra went to school with this fellow's significant other. And he's a black genie. He is a genie straight out of the bottle. What's going on, my friend?
Oh, man.
Okay, okay. This.
Grace and peace, mercy, joy, and love to everyone that hears our voices. We thank God for another day of significant life where we get to make a difference in community. And I'm just so happy with my brother Michael. We go way back. I knew Michael when I was a little boy. I just growing up, and he's been Michael Harris ever since I met him.
Yeah, hey, I am what I am, but I'm not Popeye the Sailor Man. Now, who is this fine young gentleman with us, Tim? He's about as tall as you are, a New Orleans native, the atypical New Orleanser, myself, because he decided to come over to Tejas, to Texas. And who are you, sir?
My name is Matthew Wright. I am a guest in your house, um, a handyman. I work with computers. I enjoy photography. I'm very shy, so being in front of this camera is unusual for me, which is why I'm looking at you and not it. But
Oh, yeah. Well, I still have my walrus lip. I have to remember to cut back this mustache some so that I don't look so much like a walrus. But we continue to work on it. Tim is a tall, handsome man, so is Matthew, and we also have a female guest with us today. Who do you have with you, Pastor Thompson?
This is Lady Lisa Jetkin Brown, and she is a fine community worker, and she's going to talk about the great work that she's doing in our immediate Fifth Ward Caregiver Garden community.
And who is we? Who are we?
Lisa Jetkin Brown, along with other citizens of the immediate Caregiver Garden community. Lisa, will you share with him who is on your staff and the work that you're involved with?
Okay, I was a tad bit more concerned with. Do y'all have a name?
Yes, we do. And our name is Project Respect and Why Not Legacy and Heritage Group.
Project Respect and why not?
Why not legacy and heritage?
Well,
Why not know about your legacy, your heritage, to teach your children the past, present, and future?
well, because America has made it very clear that our legacy, our heritage, our past, and our future is not a primary concern. And when
That's why we have to educate the people of how important our past and the legacy of those who went before us is to our community.
All right, well, why don't you give us a taste of that information that we should have?
Well, the information I'm talking about is we are a group of volunteers, and what we do is we help protect our history through the way of historic cemeteries. We are dedicated to the research, document, restoration, and recovery of these lost hidden spaces. The one we're working on now is in the historic Greater Fifth Ward area. And that cemetery is named Evergreen Negro Cemetery. And you can go by and see the wonderful work we've done. We've taken it from a blighted place that was full of weeds, overgrown, to a beautiful, serene place where people can go and visit.
Yeah, I pass by there quite often and have been through the cemetery since it's right. Is it on Lockwood and I-10?
Yes, it's 5400 Lockwood, between Lockwood and Market, the corner of Market and Lockwood.
Yeah, that cemetery had a what would you call it? Well, a street, Lockwood, run through it, right?
That's correct. In the 1930s, it was first talked about the widen of Lockwood Street. And there were many protests done in that community not to widen the street or go through their sacred cemetery at that particular time. So what happened, they went through it in the 1957 to 1960, Lockwood was widened.
Were you around then?
No.
Okay. Now, are you still ticked about it after all these years, or what do you have to say about it?
I can't say the word tick. Information has not passed through the generations. I am annoyed that they went through, but they didn't do a thorough investigation of that area to where, in that time, remains were left in that location, which happens sometimes when they go through cemeteries to build subdivisions, to widen streets. Sometimes, especially you have to think of the climate in the 1930s, in the 1960s. They're trying to erase our history now, but what did they do back then? So this is very important to bring our history back alive, to learning about these sacred spaces, and to correct what was done.
How do you correct something like, if not digging up everyone and moving their caskets, but paving over some of the others? How do you correct that? Can it be corrected?
You can't correct what was done in the past. You can bring people aware to what was done, to where it could never be done again. Those are the laws that should be made, and some are being done as we speak. In the meantime, you can correct it by giving those people a place to be reburied, but also a presentation, letting them know that this happened, and we're going to celebrate who these sacred burials are.
Okay. How long have you been at this? Because right now it seems that our illustrious president and the Republicans who are running this country right now seem to be telling us that nothing that we have done other than be slaves has been considered much of any value. They're going around taking Black folks' names off of buildings and statues, sometimes taking them down. They are renaming things after Confederates who fought against this country. They're doing all kinds of things. What would make you think, especially in Texas, that they would do anything? In fact, they're trying to redistrict the congressional districts in order to get rid of our minority representation, not just Black, but brown and anything, I guess, that's not white.
Well, I feel, this is my personal feelings, is that we need to go back and do what Martin Luther King did. We need to go back and deal with the business owners and African Americans or Black Americans did in the 1960s. We need to have a voice, and we need to let people know what's going on, because a lot of people are not aware. The public is not aware of what's being erased. how our history has been erased. So we need to put a voice out there from the public, from the community, saying this is not right. Our history does matter. This is our history. Teach each and every one, to let them teach each and every one that history matters. Go to the older generation and let them tell stories that history matters, and what we did and what we built and how we made this a greater America.
But as are you a native Houstonian?
Yes, I am. Born and raised from the Sunnyside area.
I have a question. In all of your years of education, did you see in your school books anything that somebody Black from Houston or the state of Texas who had done anything significant enough to be included in the school books?
No. I learned about history from my grandparents, from the church, and from the community that was around at that time.
Now,
No, not
okay.
in school.
All right, so we had Black History Month. Well, no, it was Black History Week.
Yeah, we had History Month, and we were taught about Martin Luther King, different people like that, but we wasn't taught about the people who built America. We was talking about the civil rights, taught about the civil rights leaders, and that was great. And we are so excited to have known about that, but they didn't get down to talking about people like A.K. Kelly, who's buried at that cemetery. It should have been in the school books, at least in my area. He built a part of Fifth Ward. Kelly Course is named after him. Now, who names the street after a Black man? Kelly Street is named after him. But no one knew that until we brought it to their attention in the early 2000s. So that's why I say history is important for us to go back and teach our children true Black history, so they can feel better pride, feel better about themselves, and know who they are. Because if we let people like Trump, and I'm not going to talk about Trump on this call, but if we let people erase our history, then we haven't done justice.
Well, feel free to talk about Mr. Trump. I have no problem with it as long as it's truthful. We don't believe in lying on folks. But let me ask Matthew a question here. Being raised in New Orleans, being a Louisiana youngster, I'm going to tell you something. I always thought Louisiana people were kind of special.
I'm a person that holds the same opinion, but I'm 38 years old. This year will be 20 years of me living in Houston. So to that end, I've been living here longer in my life than I've lived in New Orleans. So I'm very much a Houstonian, and I have been for these past 20 years, only increasingly so. I am a member. I'm involved in community work. I am on the board of my civic club, which is in Houston Gardens. I also work at a church, Pleasant Grove Missionary Baptist Church. There used to be a big domed building on Conti Street.
Mm.
They tore that down recently because they sold that property. 7.8 acres and all of the history that came along with it.
So how much y'all get for?
I can't speak to that because I don't know. but
yes, remember I showed it to you, baby. Yeah, they tore it down.
Just recently.
Yeah, I was here when they built it, and I was here when they tore it down.
So right now we're in a temporary space in Houston Gardens, and we're going to be rebuilding on Tidwell. So I'm a part of the production team. I do audio at the church.
Okay.
I only say that as some background.
So how much y'all get for it?
I don't know.
I mean,
I'm not a part of the y'all that got any money, so I can't speak to that.
No, but it's not. They didn't reveal how much the building sold for or anything?
I'm sure they did, but
Because
I
man, that was a big deal. You weren't here then, I guess, when Pastor C.L. Jackson uh, got the Dome Church built, and we went down. My Uncle Leo and C.L. Jackson are real tight.
Yeah.
And so we went there a few times. Yvonne, you've been to the Dome Church, right? Yeah, it was a big thing.
Yeah.
And we thought it was going to be turned. And in fact, the guy who supposedly bought it is a friend of our daughter's. Bought it, but what you hear versus what's true. I don't know whether he actually sold it or not. But was it a black guy who brokered the deal?
I believe there was a black guy broker in that deal.
Yeah. Well, when my mind, ladies and gentlemen, is not nearly as sharp as it used to be. Since I hit 73, it has been on the decline, just like my income and my job stability and all of that. Growing old, unless you're a Donald Trump or somebody. Look what happened to Joe Biden versus what happened to Donald Trump. Both of them are old, semi-senile, and one of them's bat crap crazy, but he's president of the United States. What? Ashamed of what? Oh, Donald Trump is crazy. He is. He may not be classified as insane. Oh, everybody knows it, but I shouldn't say it. Okay. All right. That's my darling wife, Diana Yvonne. Diana and Tim were at.
You shall know the truth, and the truth that you know shall make you free.
And he is
to be free when you have the knowledge of the truth. It doesn't set you free; it makes you free.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, he is crazy.
Young man, I don't mean to get into your business.
Please do.
Of that fellowship, you should know what the profit or not from the sale of that property that you're involved in. You should be knowledgeable of what that is, simply because you're a parishioner
and
a distributor.
I don't disagree with that one bit. So my lack of knowledge on this specific topic is on me. I won't put that on anyone else except myself. And I guess my lack of curiosity about the workings of that sale.
That's fine, sir. I don't mean to debate you, but something of that type importance, it should have been public knowledge to each and every member of that fellowship. You shouldn't have to have any curiosity at all. That should have been a report given to every tithing and offering giving member that participates in the fiduciary income and structure of that ministry.
Yeah, I have no pushback against that.
But
no, I'm just sharing.
Yeah.
Oh, and I appreciate it. And when you say not to get in your business, I would say I'm one of the juniors here in this context and in this call. And there is a lot that I have to learn. For example, the young lady shared a piece of information about a street that I've gone up all day and long and Kelly Street.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea that the Kelly namesake was a black man. This is my first time in all of my time being here and all of the time that I've spent going up that street, knowing this piece of information.
That is the purpose and the function of our efforts, to make that information not only available, but make it pertinent in the minds of the Afro-descendants and other minorities who occupy that area and have for many years. I grew up on the north side, and I was an inquisitive, to borrow your term, I was an inquisitive child. So I was always asking questions, and my grandmother said, look it up.
Yes.
Even words that I couldn't pronounce and spell. She said, look it up. I said, I don't know how to spell it. She said, sound it out.
That's right.
And so she whet my appetite for knowledge and for information. And God brought me to Sister Lisa through her husband, who was a pastor over on Broyle Street. Do you know where Broyle Street is?
I'm not familiar with that. What side of town is that on?
Do you know where Hirsch Road is?
I am familiar with Hirsch Road.
When you cross Crane and Cavalcade, Hirsch Road becomes Broyle.
Okay, all right. I know where you're at now.
Continue to go down Broyles, it then becomes Waco.
Okay.
If you continue to go south on Waco, it eventually becomes Sampson Street and goes into the 3rd Ward.
Okay.
That same thoroughfare has all of those names. Some of that is because the streets were merged together, but some of that is just because they changed the name from neighborhood or community to community.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're in Houston Gardens. What street do you live on in Houston Gardens?
So that would be St. Louis, right off of Homestead.
I know what St. Louis is. My mother bought her first home in a neighborhood called Pelham Place, north of Weaver Road, which turns to Lay Road when you cross Homestead going east. And then she bought a second home on Kittredge Street, which is just there where Bethany Baptist Church, the Stella, I know you've seen that church. There, Kittredge Street ends at Homestead right there at that corner. There are two churches. The late Councilman, what was his name? Good God, I can't believe his name skipped my thought just that quick. McGowan.
Okay.
Houston Gardens Elementary School was renamed Ernest McGowan Elementary School, and he was a pastor of that church right there on the corner of Homestead and Kittredge.
Yes.
Yvonne's uncle and auntie lived next door to the McGowans for a very long time, I guess, until they, Aunt Cat has passed away too, right? Yeah, Uncle Emmett and Aunt Cat. And I found that interesting that even with his success, he chose to stay in the heart of the community.
Yes, he did.
Yes,
Until his death, And he was one of the city councilmen of note. He wasn't just a yes man. He had a voice in the city council when we had some mayors that weren't too acceptable of his being there. And then Mother McGowan was a counselor at Key Junior High, which became Key Middle School. When we were in school, it was junior high. And Mother McGowan stayed when Casimir moved from Casimir Junior Senior High over on Wallyville. She stayed over on Kelly and Hurst Road at Key Junior High, and she was my junior high counselor. Later, she and Miss Louis Bailey, who was an English teacher there, and one of the great supporters and encouragers of that school, they had the Northeast Houston Cultural Arts summer program for the children in our area, and all 5 of my children attended that summer program until they were too old to do so.
I didn't know you had 5 kids, man.
5, man. And I had 2 that died intrauterine, so we possibly could have had 7.
So you like babies or making them?
Well, you know, babies like me. I was just being Tim Thompson and they just helped in my life.
I do have another question for my good friend here. So what are they going to do with the property? You know, the people who bought it. Do you have any idea?
If you've looked at the area, you get a real sense of what it's transforming into. And it is, in my estimation, getting away from its roots. The type of people who are purchasing these properties and the type of people that are moving into the community are not representative of the people who have historically been in that area.
Yeah. Well, you know, they got to get rid of those of us who cannot afford to pay for the high-priced homes or the high-priced rent, because the city needs more and more money so that they can buy more and more politicians to give the rich what they want and need, and to, I guess, I don't know what they're going to do with.
So to answer your question from my perspective about what they're going to do with this property,
gentrified.
Well, the whole area is becoming gentrified already. What they are going to do with that property, in my estimation, is they're probably going to turn it into a housing development because of where it's positioned.
And upscale housing.
Very upscale
housing.
Absolutely.
You have access to all of these highways. It's incredibly attractive for that reason alone. And the view, like if they build it way up, you're going to be overlooking I-10, 59, all kind of stuff, 45, or, you know.
And you don't have to fight the traffic.
And you don't have to fight the traffic. I mean, you're going to be sitting in traffic a little bit, but your distance to getting onto that highway is much shorter than if you live further out.
Yeah.
Well, if you think of it, you're at the head of what used to be called the Central Business District, the downtown of the third, maybe fourth largest city in the United States of America. But what happened with the federal housing project over on Allen Parkway is when they decided they were going to use that for the newly, I don't want to say, well, the new citizens that moved in. They kept it a government housing project as far as those people that would take care and keep those dwellings clean and nice. And there were also six-figure people leasing in Allen Parkway Village right alongside with those Section 8 dwellings.
Right.
So that's the type of thinking we need to put pressure on our mayor and our council people and our county commissioners to ensure that people of lesser income or even no income have a right to live in the same community, especially in these communities where we used to say, my grandparents used to say, reared and raised.
That's right.
Oh, speaking of
fight that fight.
Yeah, and I agree. But speaking of income, Gary is not with us today. Gary Stone. You know, we worked together at KIK back in 1974. KIKK. Yeah. Yeah, I think, the second Negro to work for them.
All right.
Yeah, colored, whatever. But the thing about it is Gary went on to, become a multimillionaire, became president and all that sort of stuff of a broadcasting company. And it is, truly an amazing story. But what we have to understand, and I think Gary and others are beginning to see, that there is a pattern in this country, that there are certain jobs that others, it's always been that way, that others can have and are expected to have.
Yeah.
And then there are those of us who may be, very capable of handling such a job. In fact, better than some of those who have them.
Absolutely.
But for some reason, the people who run this society want those people to have those jobs so that they can have the money, have the power, have the control. And what I'm trying to figure is, how do we get that kind of power? How do we get that kind of control? Something I saw the other day, Berry Gordy's still alive, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. And he helped make a lot of people famous, but I don't know if he helped make them rich.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, if you look at the artist list of those that came through Motown, many of them became rich and even multi-rich. Smokey Robinson, William Smokey Robinson, was one of the presidents, and he is a multi-millionaire, if not a billionaire. You had Diana Ross and other artists. A lot of them squandered their wealth. But here's the thing, Michael. We as a people, we must learn to turn our income into wealth. We've got to learn how to invest and what things to invest in. Of course, if you don't take risks, you won't gain. But there are some low-risk things that we can invest in. One thing that's going on right now, I'm taking a class on in there right now to do foreign exchange currency. I'm investing in foreign currencies. 11 nations 3 months ago canceled the United States as their reserve currency. China and Japan, when I went to Japan in 1975, $1 American was worth $1.30 of Japanese yen. I had $1.30 for every American dollar. That was the exchange rate. Now Japan is sitting on their own money. They're their own reserve currency. China, they're their own reserve currency. And one of the greatest countries that's got the greatest number of other countries using them as a reserve currency is Germany. The euro is going out, it looks like. The U.S. dollar is being devalued at an alarming rate. It used to be based on gold. Now the U.S. dollar is based on the dollar itself because everybody trusted the United States in the past. Now their trust is gone, and our money is not based on gold, so it's losing its value. So I'm telling everybody I know, try to take as much wealth up to at least 40% of your money and invest in gold and silver, precious metals, because gold has been gold since the beginning of the world. And silver has always, in biblical days. The reason we don't trade in gold and silver is because we can't make change. You go to Walmart, you got a nugget. How do you weigh that and say this is worth so many dollars and how much change do you get? You know, it's impractical. So this is what we got to learn. Whatever currency, and then we're going to cryptocurrency as well. And a lot of us are resistant and reluctant to look into cryptocurrency, but we better wake up, because in a few years that may be our major method of exchange, could be cryptocurrency. So we better wake up. We started looking, and then there's another thing. We were taught, go to school, go to college, get a degree, get a job. We should have been taught, go to college, get a degree, and go into business for yourself. This is what we must teach our children. This is what I'm teaching my grandchildren. This is one of the things that is making Afro descendants and other minorities millionaires. And you're really not a millionaire if you got $1 million. You got to have several million to be considered a millionaire. I'm in a business right now. We got one young man, before he was 25 years old, we had an international convention in March, and they rolled him out. He was a decamillionaire before 25. One young man, 23 years old, made his first million, and they honored them at the convention, because these younger people with the internet and with the cryptocurrencies and all of these things that we don't know about, we got to stop being dinosaurs and come into this century and understand that this is how the money is being made.
Well, I agree with you. I have a major concern, and that is you might be able to make $1 million, but a person who has a few 100 million or $1 billion can smash you out just like we smash a worm or an ant or whatever. And I just wonder, in fact, I believe that this latest MAGA move is to make sure that no matter how much money we get, they have enough money to make us look like we are still impoverished compared to what they have.
Well, they got a great start on us. I mean, you maggots have always been maggots. Okay, you can pronounce it what you want to. A maggot is a maggot. They slimy, they dirty, they nasty. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be maggots, but you still have to operate to a degree that you're going to accomplish what God has set forth for you to accomplish, without regard to what the maggots do. So you know they're a maggot. Be prepared to deal with the maggot, and just you got to do what you got to do. Well, I don't know the answer. It's a case by case.
Well, the funny thing about me and maggots is I found some in my garbage the other day, and I wonder how they got there. I sprayed them. I tried to kill them. I killed a few, but for every one I killed, it seemed like 2 more popped up. You know.
I suggest chlorine
bleach. They're already white.
Did that sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
The chief maggot said for COVID, drink bleach. So give the maggots that same medicine.
Okay. Well, I'm just.
You remember during his campaign, he was talking about black jobs. What is a black job? And they define those jobs that are less desirable as black jobs. Any job that any intelligent person or human can do, the Afro descendant can do as well or better. As a matter of fact, most of the functions of society, mathematics, algebra, the ancient Africans, before it was called Africa, were already doing those things. There are Native American tribes that were doing progressive, even brain surgery, back before America started putting them on plantations and running genocide on them. We just don't know all the wonderful things that we have done because it's been snuffed out. And then America has done a great job of teaching us to hate ourselves. We sick, boss. How we feel, boss. You don't know how you feel. You got to ask a Caucasian to tell you how you feel based on how they feel. I give less than 1/8 of a drop. What you feel?
Oh no! Now, one thing that we have done, and it may involve feelings, but we have a female who is a part of this conversation, and we have yet to hear from her. We men have done what we men do, and that is sometimes, yeah.
But he left us on a good note by mentioning the history, because that is how she entered the conversation. And what I will say before yielding the floor back to her is, one of the things that is, because we're talking about money and we're talking about earnings and we're talking about celebrating that, especially when younger Black people are able to reach those goals. Becoming a decamillionaire before the age of 25, incredible. But one thing that is harming us to the conversation, to the point of the conversation, is this lack of history, is not being able to reach back and know where you came from, is having learned things from the perspective of white educators about your own history. And I think that is very harmful. For example, we have a severe lack of Black male teachers in schools. We have studies that also show that we have better education outcomes when young Black men or young Black males and females are being taught by people who look like them. And that is just not the case today.
One of the things that I like about education, I'm glad to see these privatized schools who are managed, owned, and operated by Afro descendants. And the results speak for themselves.
Yes.
Our churches need to get more schools, parochial schools, under their auspices. And we need to continue, like KIPP Academy and these other schools that are doing fantastic. You know, we need to look at this and see how well our students are performing. I have 9 grandchildren. All 5 of my children are adult. I have 9 grandchildren, from one less than a year old all the way to 13-year-old. And she's already looking at where she's going to go to college.
Right.
And that's because her mother is an educator, and she's in the public school, but they watch closely. My daughter, who lives in Waco, homeschools her 2 daughters. She learned to speak Mandarin, Chinese, and Spanish, and taught my 2 granddaughters how to speak those languages.
So I'm gonna have to break in on this all-male conversation.
Yes, ma'am. Please.
I was talking about my daughter and granddaughter.
I know, but how are we going to get the regular community, those who are C students, the other students, by going back and teaching the community what your children already know?
Right.
So how are you going to go teach the people whose parents may have been on drugs because of the 80s?
We got to do it like Malcolm X said, by any means necessary. When we see it happening, we can open up educational processes in our churches. Nothing goes on in our church after 2 p.m. on Sunday until Wednesday night. We can have afternoon programs in our schools. We can invite the children and the parents. We can do events like you're doing right now with this movement, and how we're funding this movement. We need to talk about that event that we got coming up.
Yes, we do.
And awareness.
Yes, we do. And that event is called Forgotten No More, Legacy Gospel Explosion. It's a fundraiser for this historic Evergreen Negro Cemetery. And you hear the words, Forgotten No More.
Forgotten no more.
Forgotten no more. Legacy. Who is the legacy? In the Bible, it says, leave a legacy for your children's children.
That's right.
But if they don't know what their legacy are, how can you leave it for them?
Mm-hmm.
So each one touch one, and we should start at each church, and we're beginning to do that in Greater St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church, is create youth-led on 3609 Broad Street in the Greater Fifth Ward, put together youth-led organizations to help the youth-led community activities.
I got Jesus Community Temple Church of God in Christ at 5110 Crane at the corner of Pick Fair.
And that is where our Legacy Gospel Explosion is going to be. It's going to be on August the 10th at 5 p.m. And we're inviting everyone to come to that because it's going to be an exciting day. Gospel Quartet, the Endurance Quartet.
Yeah.
Look it up. You can see them on YouTube. Dynamic group of men.
Yeah, Claude Cummings.
Yes.
My late friend Record Sampson and his brother, they were part of Endurance. What's the lead singer's name?
Michael Robinson.
Yeah, Michael Robinson. How can I forget Michael? How can I forget
How
Michael?
do you forget yourself?
Well, because I'm getting old and worn out.
Let me tell you, Michael Robinson is helping us produce this.
Oh, he is.
Yes, he is.
Let me tell you this. Record Sampson was one of my and Reggie Nelson's producers when Endurance did their first recording. They recorded it at our studio on North Main at Ebenezer United Methodist Church. We had a little studio we built there. I did the vocal arrangements, and not only did Record and his brother that sang with Endurance, their little sister Martha was in the Cashmere Stage Band with me. She was in your wife's class. Martha Sampson played French horn, and she's in the movie Thunder Soul with us. She just died. What was it? Year before last. Martha just died, and she was fantastic. And I tell you, that Sampson family, significant in the music world, especially in Houston. Endurance leader is Claude Cummings. He's the international president of the Communication Workers worldwide. He's the president of the Communication Workers Union. Claude Cummings, graduate of Cashmere High School. That's old Cashmere Junior Senior High.
So what are you saying? These are all pioneers. These are all people who are African American, Black American, who have legacy that needs to be told.
Yes. Michael Harris. Did you hear him say he was the first Afro-descendant at KIKK? Michael, did you wear your cowboy boots?
Yeah.
They was kickers. That was the slogan. The kickers. I used to listen to country music, man.
Yeah, I still do. But the thing that you must remember is that I was raised on my grandparents' farm primarily up in the country. And so I'd had my share of cowboy boots by the time I got to the big city. Now I have a couple of pair upstairs, but unless it was Go Texan Day, I wanted to be a city boy, not a boot kicker. Okay, I know. I know, yeah, that Cat Shaft was a bad mother. Shut your mouth. Well, I'm talking about Shaft. In fact, one of my highlights in life was meeting Richard Roundtree and spending, how long did I spend with Richard? Well, a long enough time to know that he was a good dude. Good dude.
He's a good guy, man.
Yeah.
Good. And Mike, let me say this. At least I don't mean to cut you off.
You can cut me off, but that's okay. That's it. What that song say, James Brown say, it's a man's world, but we wouldn't be nothing without a boy. I mean, without a woman or a girl. So you still need our input.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
But I have learned as a woman of God to just let men talk, and then when I talk and speak, they can hear my powerful voice.
Go ahead, talk.
Come out. They can hear my powerful voice.
Well, let me tell you one
Yeah.
thing. I like the women of my day. The women today, I'm glad I'm not a young man, because I don't know what I would do. Now, maybe
Don't say all women today. That's some women.
I said the women of today, or some women of today.
Yes, because it depends on who your parent is, how you become. So some people have still the old tradition. But what is the definition of an old tradition to you, Tim, and the other young man? So don't say women today, because we all are different. That's just a group.
Let me speak for myself. I never categorize or compartmentalize people. Everyone is an individual because I hate being categorized and compartmentalized.
Well,
I used to hate it when they say y'all light-skinned guys. I used to hate it when I hated that. I hate it to this day. Y'all preachers. I didn't even want to be a preacher because I got railed on so much.
Hey, Sharon Robertson Jones. Well, yeah, I didn't like you light-skinned guys that much myself because y'all were the ones who were supposed to be so pretty, and we dark-skinned, you know,
Well,
we.
let me tell you this. I had light-skinned sisters that commonly said, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. I said, what about me?
The light skinned folk like the dark people.
Yeah, and my first wife was light-skinned. After that, I swore off of light.
I'll tell you this. There must be value in the dark skin because the Caucasian go out there in the sun and get cancer trying to get that dark shade, even my shade, and I'm a lighter skin.
Well, I married the most beautiful inside and out black woman that I could find. And she's sitting over there with her fine self right now. What's up,
All
baby?
right, Miss Yvonne. That's my schoolmate.
See?
Soul
See how she
forever.
talks? See how she
Hey,
talks?
Michael, what I was about to say was, I'm glad I grew up in the era that I grew up in. I was born in 1957, the same year that they started paving over the Freeman Cemetery down Lockwood and bringing I-10 and all that through. That's the year I was born. I was born on the cusp of the greatest music ever recorded. I was born on the cusp of the greatest movement of humanity, the United States Civil Rights Movement. I was born and raised in the 60s, and I was born in the 50s, late 50s, and in the 60s, the greatest human legislation, I believe, ever in America.
Oh, okay.
And then to go into the 70s, where we had the coolest dress, we had our own identification. Caucasians started on the afro. We had some pretty afro. Look, man, and even to this day, there was no laptop, there was no desktop. I took a computer course at King Junior High School. It took us almost a whole hour to dial downtown into the computer. You had to put the receiver on upside down to get the signal. And by the time we was able to log in, it took almost an hour to log in. We got to do 2 or 3 problems, and then the class was over. But now look at it. And just a voice command, you get your phone to do. They said the Jetsons, we was going to have watches. I said, man, it's a cartoon, ain't going to happen. Now you look at the people you're talking on your watch, you can see them. You can, man, look at the era we grew up, went to outer space, went to the moon. I know some people don't believe it, but the world ain't going to let us lie and say we went to the moon when we didn't plant the flag. Look at all the science and the technology. The Bible teaches us that we will get weaker and wiser. Look at the wisdom that's available even to the children. They see stuff on the internet that we never imagined. On a daily basis, they got games. They came out with the what is that? Them games with them lenses on. Guess what? In a few years, that's gonna be the way we do our shopping. We're gonna put the lens on. We're gonna be a virtual grocery store, virtual clothing store. You're gonna pick up your stuff. You're gonna pay for it. It's gonna be delivered to y'all. You ain't gonna have to go to the mall.
Yeah, you can also pick up friends on there. I understand.
Yeah, man, look at the era. I'm glad I was born. And so I got, like she said,
What is it? Just
the Bible
friends?
says
What are
a
they
good
called?
man leaves an inheritance to children's children. Not just money, but they leave a legacy. They leave a story. They leave some fact, some land, and some money. Because the land is forever. It's going to be a new heaven and a new earth. So,
Yeah. So I'm going to chime in again because
I'm going to be quiet.
I'm going to chime in again and keep saying, for God no more, this Legacy Gospel Explosion is to build proceeds for the Fifth Ward Historic Evergreen Negro Cemetery at 5400 Market Street in the greater Fifth Ward area of Houston. You can visit our website, and the website is Houston Historic Evergreen Negro Cemetery.com. That tells you about the cemetery. You can send donations to 3609 Broyle Street, Houston, Texas 77026. And the organization, the foundation that's taking care of it is Why Not Legacy and Heritage. The Pioneer Foundation is Project Respect, but the foundation is Why Not Legacy and Heritage. That's the foundation that's making a difference in the Fifth Ward community through the way of this historic landmark, and tell the story of each and every one that's located, which is Buffalo Soldiers, which is the first policeman killed in duty, which is the first African American doctor who had an office on Congress Street downtown. So history matters. Black lives matter, but history lies. Tell the story of who we are, and let the youth know that they can do other types of learn as much as they can, learn anything they can, become doctors, lawyers, teachers, community leaders, and we will not let our history be left behind. Now, the name of it again is called Forgot No More, Legacy Gospel Explosion, with the Monroe Singles Endurance. We have food truck, we have vendors. We wanted the whole entire community all over Houston to come out to this first annual Gospel Explosion for the Evergreen Negro Cemetery. So come one, come all, learn your history, be a part, come volunteer. We have volunteer days on the second Saturday of every month. These places do not have what's called a perpetual care because at once they were forgotten.
Right.
But we're going to tell the story, create ways of these historic places be forgotten no more.
I have a question for you. You keep saying the Evergreen Negro Cemetery. Are people still being buried there? And if no. So
No. It was started in 1898, and the last burial known is from the 1950s. No one will be ever buried there again.
okay.
And it's closed for burial.
And does it bother you that you have to say the Evergreen Negro Cemetery?
No.
Okay.
Because the name on each one of these cemeteries that I'm working with, you must put the original name.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, when A.K. Kelly, Reverend Lee, and Mr. Zinke, and some others got that property, it was Evergreen Negro Cemetery.
No, I
would never change the name. And at that time,
Yeah,
we were
Reverend
called
Lee.
Negroes.
no.
We're so popular, we was called Negroes, Blacks, African Americans.
Coloreds.
What we were called.
Coloreds.
But we know who we are.
Yeah.
Colored.
And
I embrace Negro. Negro from the Spanish means negro, black.
yeah,
I embrace it.
black, Negro,
Yeah.
black.
That's
No, I really don't have.
Nigeria, Niger. They changed the country of Niger in Northern Africa. It means black.
No, I don't have.
Embrace.
I don't have a problem with it. I just ask because I was wondering, do the whites still call their cemeteries white cemeteries? And I know that many of them still don't like being buried with us. The only time I see the real, I guess you would say the real comfortability is maybe at the VA cemetery or something like that, where everybody is buried there. My plot is out there where Mickey Leland is buried. What's the name of that cemetery out there on Hirsch Road?
Cemetery Beautiful.
No, the other one.
Golden Gate.
Yeah, Golden Gate.
Gate.
Yeah, Golden Gate.
That's where my parents and grandparents, my older sister, my uncles, my brother are buried.
Yeah. Well, when my mother died, I just went ahead and bought 4 plots One for me, one for Yvonne, and maybe one for our daughter if she wants to be buried with colored folk. you know, uh,
Well, let me drop a little science in there. You know that we are basically carbon life forms. Carbon is the neutral tone black. Even the Caucasians, the whitest white, when it deteriorates, it turns black. That's why they hear them buried the next day or two to preserve that look. But you was from dust. You're going back to dust. I ain't never seen no white dust. I saw white sand, but you was made from.
Okay, but let me tell you a little bit. There's another cemetery in front of that nobody. It's called Oak Park. Oak Park. We need to rally together because of Hurricane Beryl and that storm that came through the Fifth Ward area. There are still trees on top of headstones at that cemetery. So we need to gather people to do a major cleanup at that historic piece of property. There's a lot of great history there.
Yes, at the entrance of the cemetery.
At the entrance of the cemetery.
A lot of people are unaware of that.
They're not aware of that. So what is Black Pride? Learning your history. Tell the story. So we need to take care of it. Benjamin Franklin say that you should know the culture that you have. Look at the way they take care of the dead is the way they take care of their culture.
Okay, so what is the biggest black cemetery that we have in the greater Houston area?
The largest where most African Americans are buried.
Yeah.
At this time.
Yes.
This time, huh?
Yes, at this time.
Paradise North.
Well, it's owned by Service Corp International, which is Dignity Memorial, and it's Paradise North and South. If you put them together, they seem to be the largest.
Yeah, that's where mine.
He is buying out, and they have a resolution that nobody can open a cemetery within 50 miles of Houston, Texas.
What?
Yes, and that's been out there for years. That's been out there. That's why in 1994, when we lobbied for this bill, House Bill 814, we knew that at that time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
used to have great historic cemeteries. Now they have been bought out. Carl Barnes, Dignity. Is Ross Mortuary Dignity also?
No.
Ross is standing alone. We used to have.
No, don't forget Mayberry Memorial Mortuary. They're handling Mayberry is handling my homegoing. I've bought a prepaid
there's still
thing.
a lot of African American funeral homes or mortuaries in the Houston area.
A lot of traditional ones have been bought up part of the Dignity.
This was done before you. This was done in the 90s when they made that and bought those cemeteries out in the late 90s.
Not all that, sis. I don't want to argue with you, but not all of them. Some came along in more recent years. But anyway, the point being made is that we need to hold on. The mortuary business was one of the greatest businesses that a black community leader could own and operate. And now we're losing that. Clay and Clay Mortuary. My great-grandmother was a Clay. Her dad and uncle started Clay and Clay Mortuary. My cousin Roderick is still right there on Lyons Avenue underneath the 59 at Clay and Clay Mortuary. We had Duncan. We had Johnson over there on Lyons Avenue. We had a bunch of mortuaries and Signature Memorial. Now, that's one that's over on Jensen, and they're new. And they're doing a fantastic job. What's my boy's name out there? He's got a fantastic mortuary. Oh, man, I can't think of his name.
Well, while you think about it, you just reminded me of something that I heard when I was a kid. Y'all know Michael has to go stupid sometimes, but it says, when I die, bury me deep. Put a bucket of syrup at my feet. Put 2 biscuits in my hand so I can stop my way to the promised land.
Hey, Lisa, guess who's gonna be emceeing the program with us on August the 10th?
great. I'm so glad Michael Harris is going to be MC.
The Top Jock. Listen, he was so profound when they had the Top Jock contest. He whooped them so bad. They stopped having the contest.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we talking about perpetual care. He's the perpetual top jock. Nobody can top him. He's been the top jock for 3 decades, huh, Mike?
yeah. But really, I'm still kind of bothered by that a little bit because I just didn't know I'd get so much hate.
Yeah, man.
I got praise and from some, but I got a lot of hate. And
Michael, let me tell you something, bro. I found this out being a young, fair-skinned, Afro-descendant boy. The hate is always there. It's just not always disclosed.
Mm-hmm.
They already hated you. People that didn't even know you hated you. But when you stood up and identified yourself, the hate was revealed. So I can't tell you how to feel. I can't tell you, I want to comfort you, brother. But they got a song say, raise one hand up if you know you got haters. Raise both hands up if you know that you're greater than them. You know that Louisiana man?
I'm not familiar, but I will go and look it up. It's my first time hearing that.
You've been in Houston too long.
I have.
yeah. Yeah. Well,
Raise one hand. That's one of the top Zydeco songs of the last 5 or 6 years. Man.
Okay.
It's called Haters.
well, no, he's a daddy,
Maybe
so
I didn't think it right.
he's too busy trying to, raise his little lady. Yeah.
Man,
But
I love it. We all came from somewhere. None of us are native to this land.
That's right.
So, we just moving across. And most of the
no.
I'm never native. It's
I
only the native
hey man,
Western Hemispherians that are native.
I got to call you on that one, Tim, because history has shown now that Black people were here thousands of years before the Europeans ever came.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that. What did I say? That's an error.
Well, I thought you said that we weren't natives.
I mean, us specifically.
Well,
I'm Afro-descendant. My people came over on one of the ships.
well, I'm sure
I'm not
that
one of the original. That's why I say I'm Afro-descendant, because my descendants are from Africa. My sister did the research and found out for truth.
yeah, but that is where life began on this planet. All of us, even white people, have a certain percentage of Negro
Absolutely.
genes. They hate to admit it, but it's a scientific fact.
Absolutely.
And when they die, guess what color they turn?
Carbon.
Yeah, and we talked about that a little. So I don't get. Well, I get it because as a man, well, men used to, but I didn't like the way that men used to treat women. I've never hit my wife. If I had, I'd probably already be out there in not paradise. What's the I'd probably already be at Golden Gate. Because if she didn't get me, her siblings probably would. But things have just changed so much, and I wish that we would focus more on equity and opportunity for all. But America seems to be trying to turn back the hands of time. So old Matthew and I would be out in the cotton fields, and maybe you'd be in old Master's kitchen or something.
No, because mistress wouldn't let the light skin be in the house because she hated them. He had to get
because it was proof
somewhere or sell them off.
Yeah, because he knew her righteous husband was out there messing.
I don't buy that light skin in the house, that house in and that field in. They put the light skin out there too. They trying to get that money, man. Get that cotton.
Well, I was and still am a field Negro. I just can't take the heat like I used to. I pick cotton, pull corn, pick peas, haul watermelons, haul hay, chop cotton. Plowed with a mule. whatever
My,
you have
my
to do.
great grandmother had gardens, man. She had the man come and plow, and she had corn and all kind of vegetables out there in the back on Bonita Street in Houston, Texas. Man, her lot was 30 by 100, and all of that back part was gone. When I was a little boy, she made me a strawberry patch. I used to raise tomatoes, and the people in the neighborhood would come and buy tomatoes from me. I mean, I was like, that was like in the late 60s. I was about 67, 68.
Well,
Uh,
I'm glad my grandpa wasn't yours because they might have bought the tomatoes from you, but the money would be going in his pocket.
But, I contributed to the family estate, man. Good well, they put me on the lot. Was they let me help on that?
Oh, okay. Well, you were talking like it was your money because
I was former Tim. See, people think I was always a cushy little, sweet boy. I was out there, man. I was telling somebody the other day, I can't believe how hot it is. I was telling a guy last night, we was at the Sparkleburg over there. And I said, man, I can't believe we can't take this heat. We used to run and play in the summer all day long, man. It's amazing.
Well, it's a different kind of heat, though.
That's what it feels like.
Is it a different climate?
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, thank you, because I was wondering about that.
Because don't forget, we hauled hay. We had to pick those
we had those
bales.
street lights. Mama said, y'all come to the house.
Yeah. And we were younger. Man.
Man, I love talking to y'all. But we got to bring it back. Our next project, Lisa, let's get on that opening to Golden Gate. Let's get on that. We're working on this. We got a lot. She's done a lot of work. I came in on it late when I found out about it. I embraced it, Mike. And, I do music, so I'm helping produce this concert. Michael Harris is going to help MC. Michael Robinson, Endurance. We got a little praise team. Stephanie York Blue, one of the great musicians of Houston. Stephanie York Blue is going to be playing keyboard. She's she played gospel. She teaches music. She played jazz. Fantastic musician. And she's going to be there. Who else is going to be there, Lisa?
We have Lady Lakeisha. She's a mind dancer.
Yeah.
And we have the Raw Praise team. They're going to be praise dancers. So come on. We can't tell you everybody. You got to come and see.
Yeah.
This is a free event.
Yeah, like they used to say, Mike, on the flyers, and many more.
And many more. Okay.
So make sure you tell everybody.
Now, when and where is this?
Go ahead.
When and where?
This will be on August the 10th, 2025, in 2 weeks at 5 p.m. And this will be at Houston Community Temple of God, Koji, 5110 Crane Street, Houston, Texas, 77026. 5110 Crane Street, 77026. And this is a fundraiser. Again, it's free. You can come get your food after you get out of church. Then you can get your music before you go to bed.
All right.
I'm trying to remember. No,
You may remember that used to be Morning Star. Pastor Larry Leonard built that facility.
Oh, okay.
And we bought it a year ago, February. Bishop Curdell Thompson is the pastor, my brother, and I'm associate pastor. 5110 Crane, 1 block off Lockwood Drive at the corner of Crane and Pickfell.
Yeah.
1 block off Lockwood Drive.
I think when I met Yvonne, they were attending church on Crane Street. I would go over there and let everyone see her man.
And I want to put one more thing in before we get off this call. Before I get off the call, because we're busy trying to make things happen.
Yes, Lord.
Yes. So they can contact us if they want to send Zelle 832-441-9317. They can go visit the website, Houston Evergreen Negro Cemetery.com, and they can come by and volunteer on the second Saturday of each month. Bring our weed eaters, weed whackers, and help us keep this place beautiful. Make this
I'm gonna
place
bring my sickle.
Okay, bring your sickle. Whatever you can, that's what we need.
I'm gonna bring my sickle and show them how to use. They don't know how to use no sickle no more, Michael. They don't know what a sickle is.
I don't know what a sickle is.
Well, it's a curved blade, knife, I guess you could say, a hatchet or whatever you want to call it.
It's the tool that the Grim Reaper carries around.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I grew up with all boys, and they did the outside work, and I did the inside work. Now I do outside and inside. So I just want everybody to come. I think this is going to be a fantastic event. We're looking for the community to come so they can learn their history.
Yes, the Lord is with us. Michael, I want to thank you, and I want to thank my little niece. I want to thank Crystal and Yvonne for letting us share this time with you. And Crystal, you keep up the good work, baby.
Well, she's doing her other work. Chris is
That's all right.
multifaceted,
I know you're working.
multi-talented, and she.
So are we done now?
Oh yeah.
Before we leave, I want to mention that website one more time. It is Houston Historic Evergreen Negro Cemetery.com.
Yes.
Houston Historic Evergreen Negro Cemetery.com.
Cemetery.
Dot.
Remember and tell everybody the Gospel Explosion again. It's called Forgotten No More.
That's right.
And it's on August the 10th.
5 p.m.
5 p.m. So get ready.
Oh my God, who you been listening to? Is that TD Jakes or somebody? Get ready. Who was that?
No comment.
Okay.
Thank you for allowing me to come on the call. I look back to coming on your call again. I am a licensed insurance person, and I tell people about their Medicare options. You know, these days we are a jack of many trades, but I am a master of some.
Well, I'll tell you what. You keep on doing what you're doing, and we'll see you at some time, whether it's on the 10th or before or after. God bless and keep you all. Again, hello, a shout out to Sharon Robertson Jones. And our next program, I'm sure, will be more entertaining, because talking about funeral homes and, and burial plots and Negro cemeteries may not be the most titillating conversation. But for me, I was willing to talk about it because, again, we're looking at America's history. Whose statue did Trump have taken down from the VA cemetery? Now, I know none of us, you're not a military vet, are you?
I'm not.
Yeah. So there is so much going on where other people are now saying all the people who are black or brown who are being honored, unless they are MAGA supporters, they don't deserve any honors. They're taking names off of buildings, taking money from black, predominantly black schools. We couldn't go to school anywhere else. And so we've started colleges and universities. And now they're saying that they are not diverse enough and shouldn't have the funding. And if you want to go to school, you need to be going to one of the real schools that teach them all the stuff that brainwashes us and makes us feel less than because our history is not taught there. In fact, I cannot remember a time in my grade school years that we were discussed when it wasn't Black History Week or Black History Month. And I don't remember being told very much of anything, taught very much of anything that showed that we had value, that we created anything. And so much stuff has been stolen from us. It is so sad to see America taking these steps back. And that's why I question about the name of the Negro Cemetery, because I know that we didn't voluntarily say we want to be, separated from anybody. We have always wanted to be just Americans like everybody else, almost everybody else who comes here. But
That's another story to be told. But this cemetery was right out after emancipation. It was established by ex-slave.
Yeah.
So,
well, I went to Negro schools, so I understand, and I'm proud of my schools because they gave me something that some people didn't have. There are many communities, because I was up in Shady Grove, Gary. If you were a Negro, they sold us to Carthage. They didn't want to have nothing to do with no Negroes, and we left our little town in order to go where we were accepted, where they had a school for Negroes. And if you lived in a community where there was no school for Negroes, no Negroes went to school. It's just, America's history is just so ugly in some, but I always thought we were better than Louisiana, but who knows? Okay.
Thank you again for inviting us on the call.
Well, thank you again for coming and for enlightening and entertaining us. And Tim, I learned a lot about you, bruh. I knew you were always Mr. Pretty Tony or Mr. Pretty Timmy. He's not going to respond to that. Well, I guess that means it's time to go.
He might have stepped away.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway.
Okay. Well, we'll see you soon. We look forward to seeing you at the event. Hopefully, we can come on again before the event. We have 2 weeks for the greatest legacy gospel explosion ever known in the Houston area.
All right.
Thank you again, Michael Harris. Have a great day, everyone.
All right. You too. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And
Pick up your call.
well, hang up my call. Thank you so much. Did I do
It's
it?
gonna be this one.
Oh, it's going to be that one.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah. And he's over here helping out. There are some things that Alessandra did not know. And
I'm not gonna say that she didn't know because she knew everything about the setup. She walked me through it before we got it kicked off.
well, but you obviously know something she didn't know.
Well, we were really trying to decide what's the best setup for you. So when you have to run this operation by yourself, you don't have to reach out to anybody to get it kicked off.
Oh, okay.
That's all it was.
Oh, all right. All right. Well, the older I get, the setup may need to be changed because at one point I'll be sitting down asking, where am I? Who am I? What are we doing here?
We may be able to accommodate that. We'll see.
Okay, but I want to live long, and I have something else. He's a great. How do you describe yourself?
A black man living in America.
Well, what you do?
Oh, what I do for a living, I am a software developer, and I have been for the past 10 or so years.
But you also know the hardware.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And that's more of like my passion growing up. We got a computer really early in the home, and when my mom and dad would be at work, I would take it apart, put it back together, learn everything that I could learn about it.
Well, I have something else that I want that I need for you to do, since I'm no longer, at the radio station.
Understood.
You see, that computer may be too old, but that's what I have now.
Okay.
Because I have to buy this computer, and that thing costs a bit of money.
Understood.
God, because I bought 2. I bought one that I thought would handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Got it home, and of course, my daughter told me, "Oh man,
that ain't gonna cut it.
That ain't gonna cut it."
All right.
But I couldn't take it back. So,
Yeah.
In fact, I wonder where it is. Hope she hadn't pondered. Anyway, I want to get that one hooked up so I can edit my tapes and stuff again like I used to do. And so I got a job for you.
I can help you out with that.
You just can't pay you like I used to pay you. I'm jobless.
I don't come here looking for money.
I know that, but I'm just trying to remind people because people used to borrow money from me and all that. Y'all remember I'm living off of my Social Security payments and what little money I was able to save. And I tell you what, these illnesses, the cancers and the because she had breast cancer, I had kidney cancer, and all the other things Those things cost money, and everything is going up. Bought 2 hamburgers the other day, $20, $22.
Yeah.
And they acted like they were giving me fries, and they charged me for the fries too. And that's Tidbit, and that's Polo.
Hey, y'all.
Tidbit is the one right there. That's Miss Bit. Miss Bit looks more like a man than Mr. Polo. And so I'm sure they have an interesting relationship. Okay, anyway, it is time for us to go. Matthew, thank you so much for joining us. And
Thank you for having me.
let's go. They're not bothering me. They're not bothering me. Okay. Bye, Polo. Bye, Tidbit. All right. And bye, y'all. Hey, Sharon. And we enjoyed it. Hopefully, next time we'll have well, I know y'all get tired of talking about the race stuff all the time, but the Negro Cemetery thing does kind of, I just wondered if they do any white cemeteries like that.
We'll find out.
We will?
We'll do some research.
Oh, okay.
That's how we're gonna find out.
All right. Okay. Well, now remember what they used to say at the end of the Mickey Mouse Club? Now it's time to say goodbye to all the family.
Oh, you're taking it way back.
Yeah, MIC.
Okay.
See you real soon. HAEL. Learn to love him. Oh, Michael. HARRIS. So long.
Farewell.
Arrivederci.
Auf Wiedersehen.